So all you really need for this is a Raspberry Pi. I mean, you can use any Raspberry Pi model you want. You can use Raspberry Pi 1, 2, 3, 4, B+, C+, even the Pico, and it really doesn't matter. I'm gonna be using the Raspberry Pi Pico just because it's the cheapest and the smallest. I mean, you can literally get this thing on Amazon for under $5, which is very cheap. I mean, shout out to the underpaid Chinese workers who make this stuff. Now, our objective is to hack this, our target, this computer, for example, with our Raspberry Pi. Now, what does hack mean? Hack means we have to build a network from the Pico to this PC. We have to build a connection. Now, this is very hard because of a thing called the firewall. If we try to just normally connect it via USB or something to our target, the firewall, this thing in the middle here, blocks it. So this is not possible. The firewall detects, there's like an external hardware here that wants to connect to this PC. No, I will not allow that. But now what we can do with Raspberry Pis in general is we can make the Raspberry Pi act like a keyboard. We can program the Raspberry Pi to act like a keyboard so that when we plug the Raspberry Pi into a PC, the PC and the firewall doesn't think, this is an external hardware. They think, this is a keyboard. And the thing is, keyboards are not blocked by the firewall. They are not blocked by the firewall. That means if we can make the Raspberry Pi act like a keyboard, it gets access to the computer. Now this is surprisingly easy because a Raspberry Pi, it's kind of like it's like a half human. It's half PC and half USB. It's not really like a complete computer, but it's still kind of a computer. And so you can easily make this thing act, I mean, you can make this thing act like a mouse, and you can also make this thing act like a keyboard, which is what we want. And well, I can just put checks here because once we've programmed our Raspberry Pi Pico here to act like a keyboard, it can connect to the PC. And there it can do a lot of things. For example, steal passwords, open documents, send documents back to us. Basically, anything that a keyboard can do on this PC, our Raspberry Pi will be able to do on the PC. To actually turn your Raspberry Pi Pico that I have here into a keyboard, so to program it into a keyboard, you have to get your Raspberry Pi. Here I have my Raspberry Pi Pico. You have to plug it into some kind of USB, it doesn't really matter. You take the USB and you plug it into your PC. You just go to your PC and I'm gonna try it. And you just plug it in. So once you've plugged in your USB, your Raspberry Pi, now here you can see my Raspberry Pi Pico is going to appear as a mass storage device on your computer. Here you can see mine. And now to actually turn this Raspberry Pi into a keyboard, so to make it act like a keyboard, you have to program or download some stuff. Now, because this is insanely complicated to program yourself, these guys here on GitHub, this Debisu project, these guys, they made all this code for us. We just have to download it and set it up. Now, the first thing you have to do is download CircuitPython for your Raspberry Pi Pico. Now, this is really quick. Here, you just have to click on it and download it. There you go, you see it's already there. And once you've downloaded it, take it and put it onto your Raspberry Pi. Now, as soon as you put it on there, your Raspberry Pi will disconnect and reconnect again to your computer. You saw it disconnected, and it should reconnect here. It reconnected. Now just click on it, and now your Raspberry Pi should be called CircuitPython. You see some stuff has changed, but I'll explain what CircuitPython does later. First, we have to finish turning our Raspberry Pi into a keyboard, and to do that we go back, and we have to download a thing called Adafruit. Now, Adafruit is usually the thing that normal keyboards have when they're plugged into a PC. They have a HID folder, and your computer uses this HID folder to recognize a keyboard, to be able to read a keyboard. So we're going to the newest version. Here you can see Adafruit CircuitPython bundle 8x. Always be sure to use the newest version. I'm going to go with 8x here, it's the newest, and just go ahead and download that. Now that's going to show up as a folder. We have to unzip that, and I'm going to unzip that real quick. Now this is going to take a while, so yeah. Now once your Adafruit folder is extracted, just click on it and go to the lib folder, to the lib section. Well, from this lib folder, you only need one folder, and you guessed right, it's the HID folder. The HID folder being the folder that we need to turn our Raspberry Pi into a keyboard. Now let me just look for this thing. Oh man, where is it? Ah, here. Now once you have that, just copy it, or you can also drag it, doesn't really matter, and drag it over to your USB and paste it into the lib folder of your Raspberry Pi. Boom. Once you've done that, your Raspberry Pi here is ready to go. So just so you understand what's actually going on here, we turned our Raspberry Pi and we made our Raspberry Pi act like a keyboard by putting the HID folder in it. So this is technically now a keyboard, even if it's not really a keyboard. And you're gonna see a file here called code.py. It's a Python file. Now you might be wondering, well, why Python? Well, keyboards they use a specific type of language. They don't use JavaScript or Python. They use keyboard language. They use keyboard inputs to program something. So we need Python to actually translate keyboard language into computer language, into Python language. That's why you're going to see a bunch of Python stuff on here. Now this code file here is where you're going to put your malicious keyboard code. Now this can be stealing someone's password, or turning their computer off, or running a rickroll. I don't know, whatever you want to do, all your code is going to come onto here. But first, you're going to have to go back to the GitHub page and actually get the code, actually get the transformer. The transformer is the thing that translates the keyboard language into Python language. Now to get that, you can see there's a folder here called ducky and py, this folder right here. Now on here you can see, I mean, this is like really impressive code. It's really long and really complicated, but like as I said, basically what it does, it translates keyboard inputs. Like if you press a button on your keyboard, it translates that into Python. And since our Raspberry Pi is pretending to be a keyboard, it needs a translator to to convert its keyboard inputs into computer language so that it can actually hack a computer. Now, yeah, I just want to show you that. You can go back and you can press here and you can download all this code. That's what we're going to do. I'm going to download it real quick. This is going to take a while, but yeah, it's not that long. Then you go onto downloads. Here you can see it, and you just extract all of that. Extract it. Now, once you've extracted it, you go onto it, and here you can see a bunch of stuff, but the only thing you need is this ducky in Python. Now, ducky is referring to computer input, keyboard inputs, keyboard language into Python. So this is the translator that we need. Now you can just grab this and paste it onto your Raspberry Pi. Now, once you've pasted it onto your Raspberry Pi, you can delete, very important, delete this, delete the code.py file. We don't need this anymore. And there you have it. Now at this point, the Raspberry Pi is ready to go. You can basically hack anything with this thing that has a USB port. So PCs, laptops, even phones if you have the right USB for it. Really anything that operates on Python. So basically anything. Now, the only thing we need now is to have our code, our hacking code. Now, at this point in the video, I should probably tell you, I have to say, otherwise this video will get banned. Don't use this for like malicious stuff, just, use it to prank your friends or prank your parents or stuff. And if you do it to strangers, always with consent. Never actually do this to someone, because, you can do really bad stuff with this, and at some point, it's just not funny anymore. Now, anyways, as I was saying, now everything is set up. You can plug this thing into anything, and it will hack it. It will get past the firewall. Now, all we need is some malicious code to do stuff. And, if you're a lazy person, like me, which I am, and you don't want to code all of this Python script yourself, which I can understand, then on GitHub again, there's a group called Hack5 here, and they make a bunch of code. Like they make a lot of code, just malicious code, malicious Python code. You can see them here. Shout out to them because they really do make a lot. You can see here, and go over. Wait, I'll show you. Yeah. Now, if you want to download some scripts, go to payloads. These are our attacks. Go to library, and here you can see you can do so much stuff. You can exfiltrate, you can do it to phones, you can phish stuff, and you can even prank people. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna prank maybe my parents or my friend, I don't know, whatever you want to do. And you can even do a lot of stuff here. You can do Rick rolls, you can do jump scares, you can do whatever you want. Now, just to show you guys, I'll do a Rick roll. For you, like for example, I can do a Rick roll with this. I'm just gonna show you. Now, if you click on the Rick roll, you'll actually notice something. Something really important. Like this, you'll probably know this isn't Python. You can see delay 500. Wait, can I see more? Just a bunch of stuff. Enter. Now, this isn't Python. This is actually keyboard language. These are buttons on your keyboard that are being pressed. Now, all you have to do this hack is just copy it, open Notepad, paste this stuff in there. There you go. Save it somewhere. I don't really care where you save it. Downloads. Now be careful with Raspberry Pis. As soon as you paste your code onto here, it's going to start running on your computer. So the hack is basically going to start running on your computer. To not make that happen, as soon as you put your code onto your Python, plug your USB out immediately. Plug your Pico out immediately, because if you leave it in, the hack is going to actually run on your computer. But yeah, let me do that real quick. Let me paste that thing on there, and then I'm just going to plug it out. You see, I plugged it out in time, nothing happened. But now your Pico is ready to hack a computer. So the next time you plug this Raspberry Pi Pico into another computer, into a phone, it's going to run a Rickroll. But you can do like a lot of other stuff here. I mean, if you go back and you go away from pranks, I mean, you can do some really bad stuff. I mean, you can get passwords and emails, all kinds of things. I mean, you can do a lot of really bad stuff. And yeah, I mean, it's just really cool, to be honest. Now you might be wondering, well, after I've, for example, finished hacking, and like, how do I edit this Raspberry Pi? Because if I plug it back into my computer, the hack is going to run on my computer, and I don't want that. Well, the thing is, every time you put a hack onto this Raspberry Pi, you have to reset it before putting it back into your computer. Otherwise, the hack is going to run on your computer. So every time you plug this thing back into your computer, before you do that, you're going to want to press this button here. This is the reboot button. Every Raspberry Pi has this. You're going to want to press on that, and while you're pressing on that, you plug the Raspberry Pi back into the computer. If you do it while pressing this button, the hack will not run on your computer, and you can safely edit or delete the stuff that's on it and do something else with it. Yeah, this is just disclaimer, so none of you hack yourself. Now that was already the end of my video. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you have fun with this Raspberry Pi hack. Thanks for watching.